Anytime you add code that links out to an image file, a CSS file, an HTML file, or any other file, you need to specify both the file name as well as the file location. I have a directory or folder named Web on the desktop. If you want to work along, you may download the zip file under the video with the same files. Inside the web directory are 3 other directories and one image named ghost_red.png. In this example, the idea is that I would have more than one website on the same web server. Site A will be a website about absolute file paths. Site R will be a website about relative file paths. The ghost_red.png file is saved in the web directory either because it will not be part of either site or because it will be used in both. The images folder would be an ideal place to save images that will be used by both sites. Of course, it would make sense for the image to be moved into one of the other directories, but I am leaving it here for demonstration purposes. Inside the images folder, there is only one image, pacman.png. The current directory here is images, and the parent directory is web. Return to the web folder and then open the Site A folder. Now the current directory is Site A, and the parent directory is, again, web. For Site A, there is an index.html page that will be the home page for the site, and in this case, the only page of the site. The ghost_blue.png image is in the same location of index.html, and there is another images folder. This folder would be appropriate for images that are only used for Site A. Inside the folder, there is just one image, ghost_green.png. Going back to the web directory and then into the Site R folder, you see another index.html file that will be used for the home page of Site R. A page2.html file that will be a second page of Site R, another images folder that will be for the images that are only used in Site R, and an oddly placed ghost_pink.png file. Again, this structure could be improved, but I have saved the files in this manner to demonstrate principles of linking to files in a variety of locations. This is important because the file structure for websites vary and can be quite complex for some sites. Go back to the Site A directory and take a look at the index page in a browser. Pretty simple. This site will be about absolute paths. To demonstrate absolute paths, I am going to add 2 images to the page. Looking back in the folder, I see ghost_blue.png is in the same location as the HTML page I am working on. You can see the full path to this location by clicking on the address bar. Copy this path, then open the index.html page in an editor. The code is pretty simple. Add a couple of line breaks after the text and then add an image. Paste in the path you copied in for the source of the IMG element. Inside the quotes after the path, add a / and the file name, ghost_blue.png. Save and refresh the page to ensure the path and file name you provided is correct. This is an example of an absolute path. If the web folder is moved anywhere else on my system other than the desktop or uploaded to a web server that does not have access to my desktop, the image path will be invalid and the image will not appear on the page. Let's add another image to the site using an absolute path to a file already on the internet. Go to jakeweb.net. Right-click on that handsome devil and open the image in a new tab. Click in the address bar to copy the image URL, which includes the path and the name of the file. Back in the code, add another IMG element and paste in the URL for the source. Save and refresh the page to make sure the image appears on the page. Moving the web folder to a different location on my computer or uploading it to a website would not break this image because the image would still be at the absolute path that was specified. However, using an absolute path in this manner is risky. If the file on the server is renamed, moved, or deleted, the image will cease to appear on your page. A much better way to specify file locations is by using relative paths that are based on the current directory of the HTML page that is linking to them. However, before showing you how to create relative paths, let's take a step back to a world before Windows, when commands were all typed in and there was no graphical user interface, or GUI, that depicted the files and folders saved on your computer. On a PC, go to Start and type in Command Prompt into the search bar. Now we can navigate through the directories on the computer, create files, delete files, move files, and so forth, all by simply typing in commands. The commands we will use are simple and were common in the days of DOS, or the disk operating system, popular before GUIs were developed. Other command line operating systems, such as Unix, still use the same or very similar commands. Before we type in a command, notice the information it is already giving you. Most importantly, it is letting you know the current directory. For me, I am looking at a folder named Jacob inside a folder named Users that is saved on the C drive of my computer. Type in the dir command and press enter to see all the folders and files that are in this directory. Notice at the top there is a directory that seems to have a single dot for the name, and there is another directory that seems to have 2 dots for the name. In a moment, you will understand what those names indicate. For now though, notice there is a folder named Desktop. If you want to go into that folder, use the cd command to change directory and specify Desktop as the directory name you would like to go to. You can see the current directory has changed. Use the dir command again to list the contents of the new current directory. My desktop directory has quite a few files and directories, but again, notice the 2 at the top that use dots for the directory names. Also notice the web directory at the bottom. This is the folder on the desktop we have been using. Now enter the cd command followed by a single dot. Notice the directory did not change. This is because the dot represents the current directory. What if you wanted to return back to the directory that the desktop directory is in? In my case, how do I get back to the Jacob directory? That is where the 2 dots come in. Enter the cd command followed by 2 dots. And there you have it. The 2 dots represent the parent directory. If you wanted to go back 2 more directories from the current directory, you could do this 2 more times. Or enter the cd command followed by 2 dots and a slash and then 2 more dots. And now we move to the parent directory of the parent directory. Specifying where to go based on the current directory is utilizing relative paths. Could we go to a directory by specifying an absolute path? Absolutely. Type in the cd command followed by the full location of the directory you want to go to. The quotes are not necessary here, but they would be if there were any spaces in any of the directories making up the path. Okay, we are done with the command prompt. The point of that exercise was to give you an experience of working with a non-GUI operating system, as well as to give you the basic understanding of navigating forward and backward through a directory system. Back in our comfortable GUI environment, return to the web directory and then go into the site_r folder. Open up this index.html page in a web browser to see what it looks like. Again, a very simple web page. This page will be focused on relative paths instead of absolute paths, hence the very creative name for the site. Looking at the code for this page, it is again about as simple as can be. We are going to add all the images in our web folder to this page. Looking back at the location of this index.html page, it looks like the easiest image to add will be the ghost_pink.png since it is in the same location. Add a couple of line breaks after the text and then add an img element with the src value of ghost_pink.png. Save and refresh the page to ensure the image appears. Looking back at the folder structure, inside the images folder is the ghost_white.png file. Add another img element with the src value of ghost_white.png. Save and refresh the page to check if the image appears. Oh no, this time a broken image icon appeared instead of the intended image. That should not be a surprise since there is no ghost_white.png file in the same location as the index.html file. That's right, you have to remember to specify the location of the file along with the name of the file. Add images followed by a slash prior to the file name so the correct relative path is specified. Save and refresh the page to ensure the image is now showing up. Looking back at the folder structure, inside the web folder is the ghost_red.png file. Add another img element with the src value of ../ghost_red.png. Remember the 2 dots tells the browser to go back out of the current directory of the HTML file in which this code is being written, and then look for the image. Save and refresh the page to check if the image appears. We next are going to use a relative link to grab the two images from the Site A directory. Notice ghost_blue.png is directly in the Site A folder, and ghostgreen.png is in the images subfolder. Add an IMG element with the src value of /site/ghost_blue.png, and add an IMG element with the src value of /site/images/ghost_green.png. Save and refresh the page to ensure both the images appear. The only image we are missing now is in the images subdirectory of the web directory. Pause the video to see if you can add this image to the Site R page. The solution is, of course, another IMG element. This time, the relative path should be /images/pacman.png. If you entered the code correctly, you should now have Pac-Man being chased by 5 ghosts. Consider how this relative path idea applies to hyperlinks. Click on the page 2 link. The other page of Site R should open, and you should see the name of the page in the address bar. Click on the Back to the Home Page link and notice it returns to the index.html page. Again, the file name is displayed in the address bar. Recall that the reason index.html is such a useful file name for the homepage of a website is because you do not have to include it in the URL. If you do not want the index.html name to appear in the address bar, simply link to the directory of the index.html file instead of the file itself. Open the page2.html file in an editor. Change the href value to // so it will link to the current directory. Save the page, navigate back to page2.html, refresh the page to reload the changes, and then click on the Back to Homepage link again. Notice it displays the content of the directory instead of the index.html page. This is completely acceptable because the files are not yet on the internet, so Chrome does not automatically display the index.html page as it normally would. However, you can see that the index.html file name is in the directory and it is not included in the address bar as intended. Once these files are uploaded to the web, the index.html page would display instead of the directory list we are seeing here. For now, you can simply click on the index.html page to force the browser to open the intended page. To finish up, let's add a link from the page about relative paths to the page about absolute paths. Add a couple of line breaks and then an anchor element. Set the href value using /site/a/index.html. Set the text for the link to relative link to absolute page. Again, you could simply link to the directory by removing the index.html from the path. In this case, the dot to specify the current directory is not needed. When you click on the link, the absolute page should open up. Of course, the directory structure for the HTML page and image files in this lesson is a bit silly. However, understanding how to link to any files in your site with relative paths is imperative for web developers. For now, my friends, that is all I have to say about absolute and relative paths.